welcome to Shots TV and the Midweek Extra. It's episode 5 tonight. I'm Mark Butler and this is what we've got on the show for you. It was my great pleasure in catching up with Steve Wignall, our first manager since we reformed in 1992. I had wonderful stories and memories of Steve, and it was really good to catch up with him. That's in 2 parts in today's show. We're also bringing you Mastermind, the last of the quarterfinals, which is Chike versus George in a very, very entertaining affair to see who can go through to the semi-finals. Matt Wigman's not with us this week. I know many of you will cheer about that. But sadly, just due to some COVID restrictions, we're just going to give that one a miss this week and we'll probably bring it back next week or in the weeks to come. However, we have got a 2-part series of Lewis Kinsella and Craig Tanner in their rehabilitation. So that's quite interesting. You'll see the first part of that today. We've also got our question and answers, and we're back with Danny Searle and Shahid Azim, who are answering those questions that you have sent in. And of course, we bring you the VT clip of In With a Shot, where you stand the chance to win nearly £150 in the £5 draw and just short of £100 in the £2 draw. Good luck to you all that were in that, and congratulations to the winners. That, by the way, raises the club at the moment £10,000 a year, and it wouldn't take much to double the entries and raise 20,000. We've seen a real upturn in members in the last 2 weeks. Please keep that going. If you can sign up with him with the shop, please do. So that's the show today. Let's start with the first part. It's Steve Wignall, and I caught up with him in his home via a Zoom call, and we just chatted about the old days. Steve, it's fantastic talking with you. I have wonderful memories of us two, but I just want to talk a little bit, touch on your early career. Born in Liverpool, it says on your Wikipedia, if you tell me, 600 league appearances for 4 league clubs. Fantastic career in football. How was your early career? I mean, just talk to us how you got into the game.
Well, ironically, I went to a grammar school, didn't play football. It's a technical grammar school, so I played rugby. But luckily, the headmaster there, Mr. Pettit, was an ex-professional footballer, and I managed to get a trial, if you like, at Liverpool, and go on a Tuesday and Thursday evening, and then play on Saturdays. And he used to say, well, every other week you play for them, and then the other weeks you can play rugby, because you weren't allowed to play soccer then if you turned the rugby down. Does that make sense?
Right.
So that's how I got started at Liverpool as a youngster between 14 and 17. And they asked me to stay on after 17, but I was competing for an apprenticeship with Phil Thompson, John Gidman, these sort of people, and they weren't bad. They both played for England. So, you know, it was a very high standard. I didn't get an apprenticeship, but they asked me to stay on for another year. But I was offered a trial at Doncaster by a club called Morris Setters, used to play for Manchester United. And it went from there, really. And I signed pro a year early at 17, and that was the start.
Yeah, I mean, it says, I mean, we're obviously going to talk a little bit about Aldershot, but the clubs that you, I mean, I don't know whether you had any loan periods, but looking at it, it was pretty much Doncaster, Colchester, Brentford, and Aldershot. And then 3 of those clubs you went back to manage. So you must have been the type of person that grew an affiliation with each club.
I think so. I mean, I'm always committed, Mark. I'm always committed to any job I do. That's why we always move. I'm dragged down everywhere on the kids, because we always moved to the venue so I could manage the place properly and not have to travel here and there and everywhere, you know, which diminishes the quality sometimes. But no, it was, you know, it's like anything else. It's I was thinking of the family as well, but looking back on it, I probably could have been a bit more partisan, if you like, and maybe just gone to clubs, and then if it didn't work out, obviously I haven't moved the house and moved the kids and everything. But it's a real thing for me to be part of it, and I think especially looking backwards, I've skipped at every club and managed every club bar one. I was also offered the Brentford manager's job while I was at Colchester, and that's another team I played for, but it didn't work out for lots of different reasons. So yeah, I'd like to think I committed sort of character as a player and a manager and coach.
I think there's no doubt of that. But we'll get to Aldershot. First of all, a couple of questions, because I mean it was quite a successful period until the very end, and you witnessed both. How did, first of all, just briefly, how did you end up coming to Aldershot? How did that move come about from Brentford?
Well, things changed there, and we had a new coach come in, and for some reason, Frank McClintock signed originally, and new coach came in, and it just didn't work. I don't know what happened. I had a bit of an injury, so I didn't start the season, and it all got a little bit tetchy. But an offer came in from Aldershot. Lenny Walker came in for me, and to be honest, I jumped at it because I just wanted to play first team football. And looking at the team they had with Andy King, Ian MacDonald, and people like that, I thought the potential's there, and we did very well that year. We got the playoffs, beat Wolves in the playoffs, and got into the first division.
Yeah, I mean that's really quite remarkable for Shots. It's only ever been done twice by our club. That was an astonishing time. I was a young spectator watching the Wolves game. I mean, we beat Bolton in the semi-final as well. Both teams have since gone on to be in the Premiership, of course. But that must have been, well, I mean, you've had a few achievements with other clubs, but for us, that was really quite an amazing, remarkable achievement. And what was that like in the dressing rooms, though? Because, I mean, we finished about 9 or so points behind Wolves in the league, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, and it just the playoffs are fantastic. I think that was the first time we brought the playoffs in, and you played the team, the league above you. You played the bottom team like Bolton, and unfortunately we sent Bolton down. We went up, but there was a great achievement. You think about it, the achievement for the size of the club, it was fantastic. We had a good side, a very, very good side. It just matured. Lenny Walker did very well, the right people in the right places. No square pegs and round holes, and that year they talk about players now. I think I played 65 games or something.
Wow.
They're talking about people that played 45 games and being in trouble. And I remember the training facilities weren't good, etc., etc. But we got to the point where we had so many games because we did quite well on the auto windscreens that year, I think. We got to the quarterfinals, something like that. So we were just playing 2 games a week constant, right through the season. I loved it. We didn't train a great deal. And I think I was in my 30s then. So, I look at it now. It's snowflakey as far as I'm concerned. Maybe I'm out of turn saying too many games for players, but for heaven's sake, players just want to play.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think all players just want to play. I think even at the level when it came to us, this thing about too many games, I don't buy into it. I'm the same as you. Sadly, though, it went a bit pear-shaped for the old club, as we all know. And as a fan, that was sad. You were involved in the Cardiff situation. Looking back, did you get a sense of feeling that it was on the way? It happened in '92, but if I'm honest with you, we had a few struggling seasons leading up to that, didn't it? Was there a sense of something going wrong?
Yeah, I think when I told Kevin, I got on with Brian, and I think he did a lot. He helped a lot with the PFA and loans and things like this. And I think they just about did everything. But it's still happening now, Mark, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's still happening now. We've seen, to be perfectly honest, the amount of money that is in the game right from the top, the Premier League. And to me, the Premier League, they're all together as far as I'm just a footballer, an ex-footballer, ex-manager, and they should be all in it together. And I think the financial help should be a lot greater than it is, because it's a great club, Aldershot. The people have stuck by that club right through that. I can remember our first away game in the 3rd Division, Theodora. I can't remember the club now. We went there one night, and the grass was 6 inches long, and there was 800 people followed us and went there. That's a proper football club, isn't it? And you can't let things like that.
No, well,
that's financially there should.
Yeah, that's that's interesting. I mean, that brings us pretty much to part 2. The old club, Cardiff, is well documented, and Terry and Graham are interested in starting up this new club to keep the Shots going. I mean, were you approached immediately? I mean, you're a professional footballer, literally playing a month or 2 before, and then you've been asked to get involved in a club which is, and I say this with full respect to you, which is a lot lower than the level you've been used to.
Yeah, it was quite scary. I actually sat in Terry's garden with him. He said what he was going to do, and whatever you said about Terry, I mean, you cannot knock anything he's done for that football club and the way he got it started, you know. And I looked at it, and I'd been a coach, obviously, never managed, didn't know the divisions, but I had confidence in that I knew what I was doing, and I thought, well, why not give it a go, you know? And then when, as I say, the first couple of games and that amount of people turned up, I knew that we were onto something. And, you know, the worry was there was like 60, 70 people going to turn up, but there wasn't. Yeah. I can remember us playing Farnborough in the Hampshire Cup, was it? And 6,000 people turned up.
It's incredible,
unbelievable.
Really.
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable. Yeah, it's fantastic. And, you know, I'll never forget that. I seem to remember that sometimes. I mean, I took the club to Wembley, which was great, but that thing at Aldershot was something different.
I think the first year, even I have a job explaining the first year, it was so unique in that the club was resurrected, that there were some local players, and there was a feeling of, like, probably football fans are fickle, as we all know, but probably for the only time that I've been involved in football, every single person was on the same side. Even the ones that say they support you, but they moan a lot. There wasn't hardly any of them. It was a unique season, wasn't it?
It was, and I think you hit the nail on the head there. When you're a manager, you need help. You need people around you could trust. And I felt everyone at that club I could trust, including the players once we got them on board. I know I can imagine what was being said behind my back. It'd be brilliant. I can imagine, because we've all done it, you know, about the discipline. And I tried to turn a bunch of lads that, I'm not saying they weren't disciplined, but were part-time players, into a professional club, because everyone else in that division thought we were a professional club.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah.
Managers used to say, how can you be paying people £200 a week? And I was paying people £20 a week.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't believe it, you know. So, and I've got great admiration. And look at it now, because I work for a living. I've done that for several years now. I mean that as far as labour and etc. But some of you boys, what you went through before I took your training on the Tuesday or Thursday, and then demanded from you week after week, was phenomenal. But that's the way it had to be, and that's the only way you were going to be successful.
Yeah, no, I absolutely loved our time together. I've got just one question. Did you ever want to play? Did you ever want to play for us?
Yeah, when we went to Portugal, I came on for about 20 minutes.
Yeah,
and
I do remember.
For some reason, all the players wanted to kick me. It's probably because I got a bit story in my life.
I just wondered though, did you never you were playing for the old club? Did you never fancy a league game, or was it just not right? It was just not the right time.
Well, no, I don't think it was right. I mean, there's so many lads who wanted a game there. Why should I play ahead of them? You know, there's some lads there who came every week, trained hard, and then didn't play as much as others. Not that we had a massive squad, but now I don't do that to someone. But I played for the Vets for some time for Aldershot. We had a very good side with Ian MacDonald, poor old Shrubby, who's passed away now.
Yeah.
People like that, you know, and it was a good team. We did really well against the likes of Nottingham Forest with Gary Birtles and all that sort of stuff. So I was still playing at 42.
Oh,
you know, not time, but I did enjoy myself. Now, you never lose that thing, Mark. You probably still kick about now, can you?
Yeah, I do still kick about now, sadly. Records from Vets I'm rolling around for.
Well, what can I say? I must say, you and Sturzy are the best pairing I've ever managed. It was just like a perfect pairing for any manager to send him out there. And in my mind, I can remember Don Howe was the coach at Newbury.
He was, yes.
We went and won 3-0 at their place.
Yeah. And
I had a drink with him afterwards, and he was lost for words. I don't know. He didn't know what to say, because he'd been England coach, Arsenal coach, and we just ripped them to pieces.
Yeah,
and
I remember.
The front two were quite lively. I said the whole team was lively, Don. He went there, yeah, they were. You know, and that was a great night.
Just imagine, in a perfect world, the grass would always stay green, the sun would always be shining, the birds would always be singing, and not one of us would be vitamin D deficient. For more information, please go to www.yourpersonalisedvitamins.com. shotsTV.co.uk.
Thornet Project Services Limited proudly supports Aldershot Town FC.
So that was the first part of Steve Wignall. I hope you enjoyed that interview. I certainly enjoyed catching up with him. It's time for the quarter-final, the last quarter-final, place in the semi-final at stake. It's Chike Candy, of course, who beat the captain, still fuming about his Sheffield United questions. But Chike got through and he faces George, who, of course, is his first time on the show. This was a very entertaining affair and a very close affair too. Very clever lads. Let's see who wins. Well, welcome, lads. It's the quarter-final stage. Chike's had to win a prelim game against the skipper, who picked the ridiculous subject of Sheffield United and then didn't know anything about them. Chike's got through, and he is in the quarter-finals now to play against Georgie. So it's the first game for George. And your subject, George, is Harry Potter. And, of course, the subject for Chike today, he did have maths. And he's changed that now because he can't use it again. And he's gone for the wonderful world of science. So good luck with those. Chike, you come out first. You probably may or may not be able to see me. I've got a coin in my hand. I've flipped it now. You get the chance to choose what way you would like to go. First,
it's definitely heads.
It is a head. So you can choose whether to go first or second.
I'll go second, please.
No problem with that at all. So we start with George. George is going to have Harry Potter, and this is for a place in the semi-finals. So, George, we're going to start with you right now. Your first question is, it's all about Harry Potter. What is the Dursleys' address, George?
4 Privet Drive.
Yes. Wow. Great start. Which class at Hogwarts has a different teacher every year?
Defence Against the Dark Arts.
Wow, yes, 2 for 2. Chike, you're under pressure here. A very, very good start. Question 3. What flavour are Bertie Bott's beans?
Everyone.
They are every flavour. Have you been reading my book? 3 out of 3. What is the name of the Weasley house? What is the name of the Weasley house?
I think this is going to stump me, this one.
Top start.
Yeah, top start. I'm letting myself down here because I don't think I know this one. No, I have to pass on that.
Okay, it's the Burrow. Ring any bells now?
No, still
The
not.
Burrow. Question 5. Who was flying with Mad Eye Moody when he died? Who was flying with Mad Eye Moody when he died?
Someone Mungus.
Got to push you on it.
Yeah, I feel like it's something Manungus or something like that.
It's so close. It's Mundungus Fletcher. Good effort. That is like Piri salted chips.
Yeah.
Kind of answer. How did this is question number 6 though? Not bad. 3 out of 5. TK, be pleased. You've just started to dry up a little bit. How did Harry and Ron get to Hogwarts on their 2nd year?
I think they flew the car, didn't they?
They did fly the car. Mr. Weasley's flying car. What insect is Ron Weasley most afraid of?
Spiders.
Correct. He's up to 5. What is Dobby?
He is a house elf.
He is a house elf. I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed.
I'm insulted, but you're surprised at this knowledge, mate.
Where is Azkaban located? Where is Azkaban located?
The North Sea.
Yes. Wowee. And question 10. This is the best round anyone's done so far. Question 10. Finish the quote after all this time.
Always.
Yes. Wow.
Wow. Okay.
That is a massive 8 out of 10 for Georgie Fowler, and the favourite, because he's picked maths and science, is on the ropes. There is no doubt about it now. Chico's got to pull out a few stops here. 8 out of 10. Very, very, very impressed. George, can't say any more than that. Chico, you've got through 1 round. It's up against it now. Let's see what you can do with the wonderful world of science. What might go for you or against you with this is we have no idea what we're talking about, so these questions could be easy for you, or they might be like Professor Mad hard. The first question coming up is, what temperature are Fahrenheit and Celsius equal to one another? At what temperature are Fahrenheit and Celsius equal to one another?
Tough start, that, Chief.
It was the first question when I googled science. So
you don't have a book.
I don't know, like -40, I guess.
It is -40, -40. Well done. You pulled that out.
Thank you.
You lads are putting all this myth about footballers not knowing what they're talking about to bed right here and right now. That is tremendous. What is a pommel? A hat, a fruit, or a musical instrument?
A pommel.
A pommel.
I have no idea. I'm going to guess fruit.
You've got 3 choices: a hat, a fruit, or a musical instrument.
Yeah, I guess fruit.
It is a fruit. It's the largest in the citrus family.
No way.
Very
Crazy.
good. 2 for 2 for you as well. Where on the human body would you find the papillae? And it's spelt Papillae. The papillae.
What even is that?
No idea. You pick science, boss. As a question master, it isn't easy for me to pick these ones up either.
I don't know. The tongue. Why not? Why not? Tongue.
The tongue is correct. 3 out of 3. Where is he
getting champion?
Where is he getting these from? Wowee. This is some competition, this is. Who was the ancient god of medicine, Chike? Question number 4.
Oh,
Who?
I know this one. It begins with an A. It begins with an A. It's like Aspius. Aspius.
Yes, it is. It is 4 out of 4, flying on science. He's chasing down 8. Still got a lot to do, but credit where credit is due. Who wrote The Brief History of Time?
Stephen Hawking.
He did. 5 out of 5. Wow. Who discovered radio waves?
Hertz. Something Hertz.
Yeah, I'm giving you Heinrich Hertz.
We'll
6 out of 6. What does a chronometer measure?
Time.
Yes, 7 out of 7. What type of sugar does the brain need for energy?
Glucose.
8 out of 8. He's drawn level. Wow-wee. This is incredible. You don't get long on this one. Out of the 7 colours of the rainbow, which one is in the middle?
Red and yellow and pink and green. Green.
9 out of 9. And can he do a maximum? Can he do a maximum? Which is, in the periodic table, what's the symbol for zinc?
ZN. Easy.
It is. I'm gobsmacked in this round, not because I can't believe George has gone out scoring 8 out of 10.
Thank you.
And Chike has nailed it with a massive 10 out of 10 questions.
That is incredible.
It is incredible. How did you
appreciate
find that? George, like, I don't know how much you know about science. Bear with me. Did you have any idea of the answers that Chike had?
Yeah, no, I would have got 10 out of 10 of that as well.
Well, I'm sorry, George. You on an 8 out of 10. I really am. Like, that's been the game of the tournament so far.
I'm taking that with Chike, to be honest. That was spectacular.
It's been listen, mate. It's been the game of the round so far. George with 8. I'm sad to say you don't make the semi-final. Chike got through the prelim. He's got through the quarters. He's in the semi-final. We'll be back to see you again, Chike. Do you know what your next round is? What you've chosen, or has it escaped you?
I've chose, it's either the Star Wars films or Greek mythology.
No. Next, actually. No, next. You've gone general knowledge in TV and film.
Oh, there you go.
So you've got a bit of general knowledge going in next time. George, will come back to you in the next competition whenever we decide to play that. But boys, fantastic game today. Well done. Chike goes through.
Just imagine, in a perfect world, the grass would always stay green, the sun would always be shining, the birds will always be singing, and not one of us would be vitamin D deficient. For more information, please go to www.yourpersonalisedvitamins.co.uk.
Thornet Project Services Limited proudly supports Aldershot Town FC.
So sadly, many of you know that Kins and Craig have been injured for some time. So they've also, alongside doing the work here, been going to a sports injury clinic, Go Perform. It's based in a town beginning with R in Berkshire that I refuse to say on this TV programme. But we caught up with them about their rehab, and we thought it might be quite interesting for you to see. It's two parts, and the first part is about Kins.
So Luke, obviously you've been dealing with Kins and Craig for the last few months. How have they been and how have their recovery been like?
They've been good. So Craig, I know from my days with him when he was a young player at Reading. Lewis, I've got to know him more over these sort of last few months when we started rehabbing with him. But yeah, they've both had sort of fairly significant injuries to deal with. But they've been great, and it's nice to work with them from day one. So as soon as they had their surgery, or as soon as Craig had his injury and they were at their worst point, it's been nice to work with them since then, alongside the club, obviously. And in the last sort of 2-3 months, they've improved, and hopefully you've seen a bit of the work they've done there today. So they're making good strides to their progress. So it's been good.
And for what we've seen today in terms of where they were 3 months ago, it's a massive step up from where they were.
Yeah, of course. So I mean, listen, naturally with these injuries, you'll make a recovery anyway, and they've been doing brilliant work with George at the club. So we've just been able to add some extra little bits from both from my experience of working with football players over 20 odd years, but also with the equipment and the sort of setup we have downstairs. So from the equipment you've seen, the anti-gravity treadmill, the flywheel, the blood flow restriction training, and just the space that we have downstairs. So it's been nice that we've been able to sort of support their recovery. And yeah, you're right, they've made really good progress so far. Not quite fully there yet, but they're at certainly a good level where they're at the minute.
And on a more medical sort of term and basis, what would you be able to describe to us about what their injuries were like and how they've been?
Yeah, so they're both medial ligament injuries. So the medial ligament is the big ligament on the inside of the knee. So Lewis he's had a history of problems with that injury dating back to last season. So he required an operation that he had sort of 4 months ago, and to reconstruct that ligament. So it's a fairly big operation, but he's done well. The surgery went well. He's got a really good, strong fix on it now. So, but it just takes a while to restore the ligament back to sort of full function, and as a sort of high-level football player, then it just takes a while to get back to that level. So he's done well from that point of view. Craig's slightly different. He injured his in a game where ligament sort of had a quite a significant sprain to it. Didn't need surgery to it, but nonetheless there's a bit of healing time with that. So initially you're in a brace, and the first bit's quite slow, and then he's turned the corner. He's now sort of on his feet, running around, doing all his different directional stuff. Ligaments testing strong, and he's making good progress.
And obviously for the fans' point of view, for the club's point of view, it's great to see them progressing as well as they are, and we can't thank you guys enough for Go Performance for the work you've been doing with them.
No, like I say, we're just here to support the club, and they've been doing, the majority of their rehab is through the club, through George and the club, and they've been doing great. So it's just that we're able to offer those extra little bits, and yeah, hopefully we've been able to sort of add to their progression, and we look forward to seeing them back on the field.
And when can you see that them being back on the field?
It's a difficult one to say. It's not really my call, because it will be a combination of the player and the club staff and the manager on that side of it to work out that last bit of a plan. It's always a little bit of a risk. That last little bit into it is the sort of the key bit of timings. So pressures at a football club, when you need players back, senior players back to win games, then there's obviously that bit of pressure into it. But at the same time, you have to counteract that versus their long-term career of the player, and sometimes just holding back a week or two just to make sure you get that last bit right. Particularly with the sort of this medium to long-term injury, you've got to be careful not to rush that last bit. But they're both, as you see, in great shape today. They both feel good, and they're not far off it. So they'll certainly have some football between now and the end of the season.
So I'm working on the scar area, the retinacula, all the connective tissue around where the surgery's been, and I'm looking to stretch it and spread it. And just take out some of the tension around the knee. So often these areas just get a bit sticky and a bit stuck. Lewis is actually really good, and it's responding really, really well. And it's got lovely range, but it's something that we just keep an eye on. The first thing I'm doing. The second thing I'm doing is working on the fat pad at the front of the knee. I'm just trying to get it as loose or as kind of supple as possible so you can train really well. And sometimes with the running that we're doing at the moment, it just gets a little bit stiff.
How's it feeling from you, Kins?
Yeah, it's good. I enjoy the Wednesdays when I sit down and get the massages and stuff like that. But it's definitely helped with my range of movement and enabled me to carry on with my work.
Often when you have a surgery, there's a little area where they do the operation, but all the bits around it, if you think about it, webbing or mesh, it all just gets a bit contracted and a bit tight. So the idea is to try and keep it open spread, so it doesn't become a thing in the future. So when Lou's back playing football, it won't be a problem. Are you a Lou or a Lewis?
I'm a Kins normally.
Oh, yeah.
Kins at Aldershot.
We're going to laser now, so this is quite cool as well. So if you spin that way around. This is called deep tissue laser. It's really good for tissue healing, to speed things up a little bit, and also to make areas that are sensitive a little bit less sensitive. We use it quite a lot. It also warms up the knee really nicely before we start rehab.
Feels weird.
What's the whole area?
No, like even like with the.
Just keep up feeling the wall.
Yeah, it's just like a.
So often where the tissue's been cut, like the nerve get damaged too, or kind of cut through, and so you get odd sensations around the knee. So sometimes there's a bit of numbness or awkward sensation, different temperatures. So it's really good to give regular input, whether it be through a laser or with your hands, to try and normalise the tissue as much as possible in terms of how it feels too. And that includes the rehab that we do in the gym. It's all about trying to get Kins to integrate his knee back into everything so that he doesn't even think about it anymore.
I haven't had a feeling in my knee since the surgery.
How does it feel now?
It just feels like a bit like pins and needles, like you don't really feel it, but the Luke and Dan both said that's normal, and the surgeon said it was normal. It might come back, it might not come back. As long as the ligament's strong, the sensitive, just don't really make a difference.
Watkins, a long way on the road of recovery for you. How's it been like?
Yeah, it's been tough, especially with the lockdown and stuff like that, not being able to get to the gym and stuff, but luckily I found a place like this and able to come here every day and really work hard to get back.
And let's talk about the injury a bit more. You know, what happened? What was it like?
So I did my MCL against Maidenhead in February last year. It was a grade 2, but it was the deep MCL, which is a little bit more complicated than the superficial one. Obviously then going into lockdown last year, not being able to get the right treatment and stuff like that, and then with our physio leaving, she decided to turn the phone off and not give me any exercises, or when I did ring her, she decided to turn her phone off. So unfortunately I was Googling MCL exercises to try and get back, and then went and done all the testing, said I was fine, and then Ebbs Fleet re-ruptured it. So I then went and spoke to the surgeon, and he said, look, if you have the operation, you'll never be able to do this MCL again. So that was the best way.
And looking at obviously that mental side of things as well, and you know, having to sort of teach yourself really about this injury, how was that for you?
Yeah, tough. I think whenever you're injured, it's you want to know, and if you ask the guys here, I'm constantly asking questions about what's going on and why am I doing this and stuff like that. And I think now I know as much about the MCL as the surgeon does.
Because looking at the facilities here, they're great, and you know, the people here are great as well.
Yeah, they're brilliant here. Obviously, we've not been able to go to the gym at Aldershot, and Luke and Dan have dealt with this injury over 10 times. It's quite complicated, so to see the best people is brilliant for me.
And for our fans as well, they would have seen you on social media, keep them updated on your recovery as well.
Yeah, I think it was vital for me to keep them updated, especially when they've donated the amount of money that they have. It's nice to see where their money's going, and this is probably the best place for me to be right now. But yeah, no, I just want to keep progressing and be back on that pitch as soon as possible.
And tell me a bit more about that GoFundMe page. It was a great achievement from the fans and from you guys as well. Yeah,
I think at the beginning it was a bit like I said to my partner, I'm not sure whether I should do it. Like it's a bit embarrassing and stuff like that. And imagine if I didn't get any money and stuff like that. So, but I just thought, let's do it, and it took off. I can't believe the amount of money that I raised, and it's brilliant. And for the fans to donate that amount of money, especially in the crisis that we're in at the minute, is brilliant.
It seems to be everyone as well, you know, friends, family, and other people from the game as well.
Yeah, like I had players who I've never like even spoken to. There was one, Tyus Browning, who's in China, who donated £250, and I played against him once in a reserve game. He's obviously come across the page and donated, and obviously Jack, and I'm going to drop that one in there. But yeah, no, like whether it was a £5 or £2,000, it's all health in my recovery.
And you got a lot of social media coverage as well.
Yeah, I was getting asked to do interviews here, left, right, and centre. But the most important thing for me is to get back on that pitch safely and to make sure that I don't get injured again. And
obviously, with the lockdown and everything going on, you know, around the world as well, that would have been difficult socially, and you know, you need to have that support from friends and family as well as you recover from injury.
Yeah, my family have been with me through everything, the ups and downs mentally, and they've been there with the good times and bad times, and that's what it's about, I think. But yeah, no, I can see the finishing line now, so it's all positive.
And obviously, we spoke about Go Perform as well. You know, you seem to be more positive since we last spoke. You know, almost nearly a year ago, probably.
Yeah, no, obviously this place is brilliant. They've helped me massively, not only physically but mentally as well. They keep you going. It's a professional environment, and they want to see. They don't want you to be here for the rest of your life. They want you to be back on that pitch, and that's their role in helping me get back.
And as we look like we're starting to get close to the end of the road of recovery for you, what is the next step?
So I'm out on the pitch now doing some running, just getting the fitness side. I'm probably a bit off that. I've not run since September, so I need a lot of catching up to do on the fitness side. Drop a couple of kilos in weight, and get up to St George's Park for the last week of rehab, hopefully, then get signed off by the specialist so that I can be back training.
Because we saw you Tuesday as well, you know, doing some running and also some kicking at the football as well, which would be nice.
No, the ball works, obviously. I'm still a kid at heart, and whenever I get the ball at my feet, I just want to stay out there and keep playing football. I was out there before everyone, just doing kick-ups because I just miss being out there. So, but yeah, no, the fitness side is horrible, but you can see when you see the finish line, it's all worth it.
Just imagine, in a perfect world, the grass would always stay green, the sun would always be shining, the birds will always be singing, and not one of us would be vitamin D deficient. For more information, please go to www.yourpersonalisedvitamins.co.uk.
Thornet Project Services Limited proudly supports Aldershot Town FC.
What the future holds. Waiting for the stars to align.
We come to the part now which is my baby, the In With The Shot VT, where we'll find out this week's winners. I know I said at the top of the show, but I make no apology for continuing to plug this. This is a great opportunity for you to help the club for as little as £2 a week. If you set up a direct debit or a standing order, you just will not miss that £2, and that could be valuable to assist the club. We have 97 members in the £2 game and 59 members in the £5 game. Do you know that if we double that to 200 members and 120 members, we will raise this football club over £20,000 in the coming year, and you will win over £20,000. Is that too much to ask for? 200 fans in our fan base of 15, 16, 17, 2,000, 3,000 people? I don't think so. Anyway, here's the VT clip. Sign up, and I hope you win. Welcome to week 56 of the In With The Shot draw. In here are numbers 1 to 70. There are 59 valid numbers though for people that are playing the £5 draw. The jackpot today is £147.50. So this is the £5 draw. Good luck to all who are in. I'll give it a good shake. The winning number is, I'll try not to drop it today, number 44. Number 44. All the fours, Drooby draws.
Nick Cansfield.
And it's Nick Cansfield, Slab Life. Well done, Nick. Thoroughly deserved. So you take £147.50. Stay with us, stay live. Matthew, could you pass over the remaining numbers, please? My trolley dolly, Matthew Wigman, is just going over with the remaining numbers. Oh. He's dropping them. So if your number's been dropped, I apologise. No, he has picked them up. Bear with us. One job is all he had to do. Okay. Right, a good shake. The remaining numbers have been put in. For the £2 draw, the numbers go up to 119 with 97 valid members, and obviously therefore a £97 jackpot. Thank you for all who are playing. The numbers have increased dramatically in the last couple of weeks due to everyone joining in the game. We are going to be giving the club £244. Now I remember when we weren't giving the club £200 a week. We're giving the club £244 this week. And not only that, we have raised over £9,000 in just 56 weeks. Now, this is on the members that we have. I personally believe we can double this, which will give us a 20 grand prize fund or pot for the winners and a 20 grand prize pot for the football club. So let's crack on. The £2 draw, good shape. You're nearly getting all of your money back in one draw, and of course you're going to be in the remaining 51 weeks. So here we go. It is number 84.
Chris Gaskin.
I can't believe it. He won last week and he's won this week. Chris Gaskin, number 84, or he certainly won recently. 2 weeks in a row. We can't odds that. It's by pure luck of the draw. Sign up and all the best. Thank you very much. So that was the end of the shot draw. Congratulations to you winners, well done. And if you are unlucky this week, join someone to win every single week. It's just a fantastic game. And it's my favourite, and it's making money for the club and for you. Part 2 now of Steve Wignall, and let's see what he has to say. I mean, it was an unbelievable offer, and I can clearly see why it goes too good to be true, especially as you had the longest time in your playing career with them. But then out of the blue, just as much as a fairy tale, you're managing this team that's in, you know, this Ryman League, as it was, or Deodora League, and then you get a chance to come back into professional football with Colchester United. I mean, it was a brave move from them as well, wasn't it? Employing someone who, whilst you were successful, was managing at the level you were. How did that come about?
Yeah, I think there was still, similar club to Aldershot, where people there have been there all their life, you know, on the board, on the peripheral thing, fundraising, etc., and supporters. And I think there's a certain amount of trust that they knew about my character. And I was fortunate to get the job. It's so difficult to turn down. I couldn't turn it down for lots of different reasons. And I just say one regret I've got, that I didn't have a chance to say goodbye to each individual player in the squad, because I literally took over the next day. They wanted me there the day they gave me the job, you know. So I regret that, and any of them watching, I apologise for that. But it wasn't me being rude or big time Charlie. Far from it. It was just a logistical thing that I didn't take a chance to thank every single player and person at the club.
No problem. I mean, I don't think anyone thought that. I think we all looked at the move going, you know, not surprised in a way that you didn't deserve it or couldn't do it. Just surprised that 1 minute you're with us in this Deodora League and the next thing you're with Colchester. And we all then, I mean, I certainly did, and I think the majority of Aldershot fans did, and players. We followed your career, and you had a great spell at Colchester. I think you went to Wembley a couple of times, and you got them promotion via the playoffs as well. So that must have been good going back to your old club.
That was fantastic, and I had a few fires to put out there as well, in a way. But I moved to a club where also there's 2 or 3 people I'd played with who were on the staff, so I could trust them. So I had a chance, you know, and it went really well. We got to Wembley twice. We lost in the final on penalties. We got promoted, and we missed the playoffs the previous year. So at 4 years, that's not bad at all. And we made a profit, believe it or not, which is very unusual for football clubs. But I won't go into details while left. But like anything else, I felt I've gotten far enough. And like anything else, you hit a brick wall, don't you? With a club at that level, you tend to hit it. I think Bournemouth's an exception. But generally, and Burnley, that's a even bigger club, really. But the likes of Aldershot and Colchester, similar clubs, and you hit a wall, and then there's got to be a massive injection of cash, or you either go backwards or stay where you are.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I would agree with you. If we were doing exceptionally well, we might get to what they call League One now. The old school money, it was Division 3, and then after that we would be punching above our weight, and things like that haven't really changed. And I don't know if you have been following us, we're in the National League now, and just in that, Steve, the clubs, Notts County, Stockport County, Wrexham, Yeovil, like this is the highest level of non-league. But we worked Chesterfield, who've got a 12,000 seater stadium. We worked out that at least 5 clubs, not including Aldershot, are probably bigger than anyone in League 2.
Yes, I'm looking at the papers today, and at the top 10, I think you're only 2 or 3 points off the playoffs, aren't you? So, which it could be a decent season for you. And you're looking at the top 10, I think 6 Leicester League clubs. And it's very sad in some ways, but Notts County is a massive club. I was at Notts Forest for 3 or 4 months with Brian Clough in between when I was at Doncaster on loan, and they were massive clubs. Notts County was just as big as Notts Forest, you know. So it's a shame to see them there. Notts County, they were in the championship now when I was a player, and same with Wrexham. And Wrexham been taken over by
the 2 actors or something.
Yeah, you have a lot of money. So great clubs. So it's a tough division, and I'm glad they're doing well because it's been tough for them. But it looks like they're on the verge of maybe sneaking. If you can get into the playoffs, it'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we've got a great young manager. Really, the more, you know, well, I don't want to label you, far from it, but there's a more modern manager, coaching, different techniques, and he's got a group with the second youngest squad in the league. And I think his problem's been not the ability, it's been trying to get the ability every single game. So we're good one week and perhaps not so good the next week. We've just come on the back of, though, after yesterday's win. This was filmed when we beat Wealdstone 4-3 for the viewers. But that's our first 3 matches in a row, Wiggs, where we've won. So hopefully he can. We have an opportunity where we might be able to kick on with the playoffs. It's a really funny season with the pandemic. We're playing every week, like you said, Tuesday, Saturday, and we're not really sure what's going on. But keeping our fingers crossed for the Shots there.
It's great. We've actually looked up. It's David Searle, the manager. So
yeah, Danny Searle. He's not. I don't know if he's too far away from you. He's out near. He's in the countryside, but he's not far from Braintree way, I think.
Oh, really? Well, it's interesting because looking at the staff as well, it just shows you how football's gone on from 20 years ago. I did some work for Essex Radio after I left Colchester, and we went up to Hull, and they all marched out, and there's 6 or 7 people in black tracksuits, and I thought, not wearing black tracksuits, and the commentator next to me said, no, that's the staff. Well, when I was managing Colchester, there's only me, the physio, and a player coach. That was it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's dramatic for the better, fantastic. But it's unbelievable. They've got analysts, they've got this coach, that coach. When you're a manager 25 years ago, you did it all yourself. And I went into Colchester, I changed all that. I had the meeting after training. I had them in on Sundays. Instead of giving them the full weekend off, having Sundays, give them Monday off, and we got our injury rate down to the lowest in the league. We were ahead of time in a way, but it wasn't scientific. It's just how I thought it should be. Yeah. And they've taken it on miles ahead of that, you know. And that's one of the reasons we were successful, because we had very few injuries over the 2 or 3 years I was there.
What do you make of it? Just a personal thing, then. I mean, obviously, everyone has got to stay safe. I mean, it's just crazy with the pandemic, but seems to be 2 schools of thought. I mean, what do you make of the football continuing? I will tell you my opinion. I'm not trying to set you up to say anything political, but I'm desperate for the football to carry on, purely because when you are in lockdown, you need also some things to look forward to for your mental health.
Yeah, I think so. I think it should go on. I'm not sure how far down the pyramid.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the facilities aren't the same. But as far as elite football and as far as the National League, I think it should carry on. And I'm not being political or whatever, not being flippant, far from it. Ironically, I've just had a phone call half an hour ago to go and have my jab. So that shows how old I am. I miss it. It's just up the road here. And I'll be having it. We'll both be having it. But no, I think it should carry on. Yeah, I think mental health. I mean, there's a big game on this afternoon. My team, Liverpool, Man United.
Yeah.
I'll be watching that. I still follow them. That's the first result. I've looked for Liverpool first. All the shots second. Colchester, Brentford, all the teams I've played for and managed, I look on a daily basis for their results and hope they go well. You know, because I know exactly what it's like to manage them team. The year we went up, beat Wolves, we didn't think we would do it, but when we got up there, we loved it, and we survived for a couple of seasons. Didn't we?
Yeah, we did. So, and that's the thing. Like the lads here now,
there's some really good players, Mark. We have some really good players.
Yeah, Bobby Barnes.
Andy King died not so long ago.
Oh yeah.
Had a heart attack and died. Mac is still going. Poor old Shrubby obviously passed away.
He fought that unbelievably. Like he was like
Horrendous.
like he wasn't given anywhere near the length of time
No.
that he actually made, and he carried everything with dignity, Shrubby, as well. Everything, you know.
Definitely. I'm going backwards. Said Bobby Barnes. He's now possibly going to take over the PFA, isn't he?
Right. Okay. I know he was involved up there, and I'll tell you another person who's up
I
your
think
way.
he's.
Sorry, Wigo. I'll tell you another person up your and he passed recently, and I don't know if you know this because big picture come out with you. Jack Rowling passed as well. Literally, this just last few days.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, really? Poor old Jack. How old was he?
Well, I knew Jack Rowling. He was in the program, but I was just a player. I didn't know him. Like I know you probably went up that side and had a few conversations. Graham's pretty cut up about it, and
yes.
But I don't know his age. I don't know what it was.
Oh, right.
Wigs. But it was literally, though, just so that you know, it's literally been 2 days, if that.
Because I think his daughter take over the book that he was doing. He used to do, I think, Brenda.
Yeah, and then stopped contributing to the program a couple of years ago. So he must have felt that he couldn't do that anymore. But I just didn't know. I knew he was around the Essex way.
I didn't know Jack had died.
Yeah, no, but it was literally only in the last 2 or 3 days. I don't know the exact day. I'm only going from what's been coming out on Facebook. But there is some funny things that might make you smile, and I'll say these things, and he knows about them because he's the one who's told me. There was a bit of a reunion a couple of years ago where we like the '92 group went on the pitch. And Stuart said, Tony, they want you in the middle of the pitch because Stuart was holding him. And Stuart walked him right next to the sprinkler. Right, Tony's going like that. Tony's going like that. And then there's sprinklers coming. So it was brilliant, and he has a laugh because he was so stupid, wasn't he, Tony, cracking every joke. He always says now everyone and apparently I think he hams it up a little bit, but apparently the boys from the Golden Lion pub, when they get together, they take him out. They're really good with him. They all go and collect him, take him out. But what they do apparently is they turn him round to face the wall, so everyone else.
He deserves it. Very quickly, I tell a story to people, and they say, "Well, what was it?" To other players, and say, "What was it like managing?" I said, "Well, one boy, because we used to do a cross country sometimes on Tuesday, didn't we? Around the army and all that."
Yeah.
And I said, one boy turned up and he got his trainers. He found a pair of wellies, and that was Tony.
Yeah.
He put them on and still came third.
Yeah.
I said, "That's it. That's him. The poor man's Paul Gascoigne."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely brilliant, mate. And so, of course, and a good thing about that is he still has the ability now to laugh at himself. Like he loved it when they did that. They turned him around. So there was good banter with him. I still see the boys every now and again, the local ones. So yeah, everyone's they were good times, mate. They were good times.
Well, I just hope, even whether they like me or not, or whatever, they had happy times.
No,
I remember that.
Brilliant. Well, I think you haven't got to worry about that, Weeks. I think they were unbelievable times, and I would imagine the only person there would only be people that maybe didn't play or something like that, and you can't play. You can only play 11 people. We can only play 11 people.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, so that's
Jurgen Klopp, that.
Yeah. So
yeah.
But listen, right, I'm going to leave you. Say hi to all the kids for me. Say hi to the boys. I do remember Tom in the boot room. The boot room hasn't changed. The dressing room's got a bit smarter, but the boot room hasn't changed. I love it.
I needed it, yeah.
Yeah. So
you do me a favour. Say hello from me. Anyone that hasn't seen this who's involved, thanks for all your help and support. And I'll never forget it, even though it's 20 years ago or whatever, nearly 20 years. It's been great.
Nah, thanks. Brilliant. Steve, we need to keep in touch a little bit more often, even if it's just saying hi. I'm quite glad now. I communicate through the the good lady on Facebook now. So if I will always say hi now. So that line of communication is open. When things are better, please come back down and see us. We'll have a nice reunion, and we'll get a few people in and share a beer. And just thanks for taking your time out on a Sunday just to have a chat about football. I really, really appreciate it.
No, I've enjoyed it.
Cheers, mate.
No.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Anne.
Bye, Anne.
We got to the stage where we got some questions, and they've been coming in fairly regular for Danny and for Shahid. It's the same two people that are going to respond to the questions this week. I don't actually know at this point what the questions were, but I hope that your question's been mentioned, and I hope you're satisfied with the answer that the two lads give. Here we are.
Well, Shahid, thank you again for sitting down with us for the Thursday Midweek Extra show. Before we start with the questions sent in for you, I know you've got a few condolences you'd like to wish fans and players recently.
Thank you, Henry. Look, first, not knowing what happened yesterday and the other day with passing off Alan Woden, you know, our player who's played over 100 times for Aldershot, and sadly yesterday Scott Grimes, you know, suddenly passing away. I mean, you know, in my program notes I said, you know, every day everything is evolving. You know, there's so many challenges we have, and then we have all these personal challenges. And when somebody like, you know, Scott, somebody so young, passing away, though I didn't know him, but what I've seen the tributes of him and of his people, and it just shows how much people respected him. And you know, I'm sitting here talking to you about, you know, some of the questions people are asking, but at the same time, you know, there's more to, you know, more in life than, you know, some of the challenges we actually are currently facing. So sincere condolence to both the families. May their soul rest in peace. And, you know, and I think life is so precious, and we just need to be making sure, you know, we take each day as it comes and make most of it, because we just never know what's going to happen next.
And of course, we wish all the families both our best and condolences, like you say. And obviously moving on from that, and obviously wish them all well. Moving on to the questions now. First question is, the Trust have made various negative comments about their relationship with the football club. Why do the club not interact with the Trust, as surely it is to the benefit of all parties to work together?
Well, look, since the Trust relinquished their seat nearly 2 years ago, over 2 years ago roughly now, it was their decision to cut the ties with the football club. There was comments made about the board, the leadership, continues on social media criticism of the board, and particularly myself, to the extent they've been to the councils on 4 different occasions, even one private one where they've gone to see the deputy CEO and requesting why they're giving us a lease. And the bottom line is, they left the board, they left the seat, they moved on, and you know, since then I can categorically tell you I've never had any, apart from some communications where they've been factually wrong, and we've written to them. I've not had any sort of discussions with them, and they're continuously going on about want to meet the board. But the question really is, why have they not actually officially written to the board and said we want to meet with you? Because I'm not seeing a single letter to saying, can we talk, can we meet up with you and discuss the future? Having said all of that, we have moved on. We are now working with the Aldershot Supporters Group, you know, approved by the FSA, and they are our now vehicle that we are putting all our time and resources and supporting them and working with them for the, you know, for the positive of it. Look, if the supporters, members of the, you know, the Shots Trust want to engage via the other supporters, I'm happy to, you know, we as a board will be happy to meet all of these people. But, you know, quite frankly, they're the ones who burnt the bridges, not me. And if the board was so bad in 2 years ago, it's still virtually the same board. So if it was that bad then, why are you want to engage with us now?
Yeah, moving on to the next question. It again talks about the trust. The club secretary inadvertently sent an advice email to the trust last year, stating the club only wanted the trust for their money. Is this true, and has any action been taken?
I think that question has been dealt with. A director of the football club dealt with that with member staff. An apology has been sent. Inadvertently, the message was sent, and as far as I know, that matter has been dealt with and is closed.
Thank you for that. Next question. What is the latest position regarding the signing of the lease with no recent updates? But then obviously we spoke about it last week on the TV show as well.
Exactly. So I already answered that question last week, so I'm not going to keep repeating myself.
The pitch was recently covered in snow, and it was recorded that players attempted to clear the pitch. On whose instruction was this action taken?
Well, to be honest, I don't know. I found out that the players on the pitch clearing it, and I think I spoke to you, Henry, and I was saying, look, I've seen a tweet about getting people to come and help to clear the pitch because we wanted the game going on. Bearing in mind that the team were all in one bubble, you know, they were part of the, you know, all the social distancing and the COVID protocols. I think they took it up on themselves, think that they were allowed on there, they were all together. It didn't have outside people coming in who weren't part of the bubble, and they were desperate to get the game on. And that's what that was done. And, you know, and then I believe the groundsman came in and dealt with it. But the players were desperate to get the game on, and yeah, maybe not in hindsight what happened, but we did get the game on.
Exactly that. And from my side of things, you know, maybe it was a bit prejudged, and obviously with the thought of getting people in, it would have been all socially distanced and all COVID secure and safe. So maybe that was a mistake on my behalf, but we move on and we look forward now.
Yep. Next
question. What are the average viewing figures for the home games on Shots TV, and roughly how much of that revenue goes to the club?
We average around about 850 people in the last, I think, 8 games we had. Probably doesn't include the trophy, I don't think, but it's about 850 people on average watch it, which is, believe it or not, speaking to Sport Radar, we are well above most of the people in our league using the platform. So it's been positive. I think combined with the midweek show, again, I think that's been positive. We're using these vehicles to communicate and engage with our supporters and, you know, home and abroad. So it's, you know, it's been successful. I mean, we had some teething problem before, you know, at the beginning, but we resolved those. You know, we expanded, we explored, and we added more features into it, including having all outside broadcasting company involved in it, do the pre and post match. So look, you know, it's a digital world, and we're evolving and we're learning, and it's been I believe it's been fun for you guys, and I think Mark and you and Matt and, you know, the people from you know, Simon from the TV company, you know, we have invested in equipment as well. So yeah, we're trying to give a better show. So, you know, so on average we've got 850 people watching.
And yeah, you know, like you say, it's something we're proud of, and we're happy to produce and show to people as well. So the next question is, what is the anticipated revenue shortfall this season and the overall operating deficit for the financial year?
Well, look, we have, you know, cut the budget last 2 years. We've been cutting budget on playing side and everything else. And, you know, this year we were predicted to make, you know, small profit. You know, got Dean Woods on it now. He's, you know, he's a Rottweiler. You know, he understands. You know, he runs one of the most successful stock cars, you know, rallying, you know, around the country. He understands the sports side, and the good thing is, you know, he wasn't keen on football, but he's very much keen, because we go, myself and Dean go to away games, and actually sometimes you need somebody who's not as emotionally involved in football to keep an eye on it. So look at it from a business point of view. So Dean's out there doing it, and obviously I've got a lot on my plate as well at the moment with the development and everything else, and having all these challenges every day. So look, you know, so it all depends what the government comes up with. We at the moment, if you get no grants or anything like that, and if you pay everybody, we're looking at shortfall 250 to 350.
With the next one, with an expected high number of this year's season ticket holders carrying forward to next, what is the expected shortfall on season ticket sales for next season, and how do the club aim to address the shortfall? And obviously, with this question, that might fall under Matt's remit as well, with it being season tickets, but I'm sure you will be able to help with the answer there as well from your side.
Well, at the moment, we sold less season ticket than we normally do last year. I think we were about 250, 300 shorter. So I think we only sold about, including some youngsters, which we give them some of the money back. The key, the people who have carers, we give them their money back. So our numbers, some people also, about 80 of them, I think, converted into the streaming side as well. So, there will be shortfall, but, I think, with what we've done and the success, and if you carry on being what we've done with the trophy and, hopefully touch wood, something major happen, we expect it to be better. I think up to December, I think we would, and January we've been performing really, really well financially on off the pitch. So, yeah, so, it's a hard task, but that faces everybody in the league, in our league and above and everywhere else. It's just a business world we're in at the moment because it's completely unpredictable where we are.
Exactly that. And moving on slightly again to the lease, obviously we spoke about it again last week, like we mentioned. As and when the new lease is signed, what level of consultation with the supporters will have with regard to the development?
I think at one of the forums, somebody asked the same question again, and the answer's still the same. Absolutely, totally committed. We're engaging with supporters, what the look and the feel of this place is. And it's molded, it's what they want, it's obviously making sure we keep the retro 70s 80s type sort of atmosphere. We don't want to, let me be blunt with you, we do not want a soulless plastic ground. It's got to have our identity. It's got to be something different. And I think, at the meeting, if you, I don't know if you recall or not recall, I said once we have our pre-app outline planning, which is just actually the concept of what the facility is going to look like. When we get into the details, as I said, we'll be engaging with the Ultra Supporters Club, getting the supporters involved in there. I also remember saying at the meeting, Lewis Scard will get involved with it and engage with people and bring people into it. And actually, it's the club doesn't belong to me or the board; it belongs to the people. And I think and it's vital. And the only caveat with that is, it's got to make sure we can generate revenues to make sure that we are sustainable going forward and can generate more revenue to put more people, put better quality on the pitch. But more importantly, it's a 7-day operation.
Exactly that. So this one's a little bit differently worded, so if you just bear with me. When the redevelopment was first made public in March 2018, there was a Q&A section, and one of the Q&As was as follows. So the question was, will the fans have any input? And the answer was, we will be undertaking a full programme of consultation with supporters during the closed season. I know that the closed season back in 2018 has now been and gone, but does that Q&A still stand? So again, that's you sort of answered that question there, and the fans will be consulted.
Without doubt.
Moving on, slightly different question again. Danny Searle's been our manager for 1.5 years and has had to face very difficult challenges with the relegation reprieve and then COVID, of course. Do you think the Shots have progressed under him, and what should our aims be for the next couple of years?
Well, first of all, Danny has been performing extremely well under challenging time. If you recall, when he took over, he had to rebuild the team, and combined with that, we never finished the season. The season was concluded in March, and then we didn't start till October. So he's been having some serious challenges on there. But if you look at the budget we have given him, and I know people don't want to talk, a lot of people, sort of talk about budget, but we talk about budget that I know because I sit on the National League board, I know roughly some of the budgets in our league, and his budget's been cut twice, right? So, and to where we are at the moment in 11th or 12th place, you know, I think we you know, he's done really well. We're in the court. I know, admittedly, you know, we've got to buy in the last round in the trophy, but listen, we're still in the quarterfinals. I don't really care what people say. You know, we're in the quarterfinals of the FA Trophy, 2 games away from Wembley. I think, you know, he's been very, very, you know, been working with John Leppard and again with Dean and Bob, talking at the budget and looking at how we can deal with cutting cost, you know, wherever possible, because, you know, and he can't buy everybody because, you know, again, we're limited to what we can put on the pitch and with the finances. So he's been really adaptable, and he's never ever, to be honest, moaned about it, and he just got on with it. So I think, you know, personally, I think the fact is, look where we are at the moment, look where we are in the trophy, look where all the challenges we had. I think that, you know, I know Dan has been factually you know, very successful.
Obviously, yeah, you spoke about that as well. Obviously, picking up a squad that we would know was safe from the reprieve, and then getting the squad we have now. That's been the year. What is the aim for the next couple of years with Danny?
Look, we you know, we want to sit down. Myself, Dean, and John Leppard will be sitting down with Danny soon. Just talk about, you know, what the players he wants to keep on, and obviously his contract is up. Seeing what we might want to, you know, do, what he wants to do. You know, at the moment, everything is unknown with where the season is and when it's going to conclude. And, you know, the most important thing is, and again, without putting pressure back on Dean Woods and John Leppard, but mainly Dean Woods, is, you know, we've got to be sustainable, and so the football club is, you know, more important than what league we're in at the moment, because it's, you know, I've seen businesses right, left and centre going bust, people being made redundant, you know, people not being paid on time. You know, there's so many challenges out there, but I think for us, the important thing is make sure we've still got a club to support.
Exactly that. And the final question that was sent in, but was sort of answered earlier, what is the average number of fans purchasing streaming for our home matches? But again, we said around 850 mark, but give or take, depending on whether it's a Tuesday night game or if it's, you know, a Notts County, for example.
Well, I think on match days, because we already got some people who bought the 8 game passes, and, you know, so I haven't got all the results, but I think you've got on average people buy day passes around about 600 odd on average on the day, unless it's a, you know, some big following like Notts County, and, you know, so there might be more. But I think, you know, if you look at it, we, as I said earlier on, you know, we are around about 850 people watching it, and you've got to take into consideration that, you know, some of them will have their mates coming around sitting with them, so they don't have to buy a ticket and that sort of thing. So we you know, I think in scheme where we are, we're doing okay. We're doing okay in terms of streaming and that sort of thing.
Exactly that. And that wraps up our question and answer again for you, Shahid. Thank you again for sitting down with us. And if there's anything else you'd like to say to wrap up the questions.
Look, it's a challenging time. You know, it's you know, I said that all along. You know, we are trying to do our best. You know, I think my Christmas message was pretty emotional, because it's tough out there, and people lost lives, you know, loved ones, people lost jobs. You know, football club plays a vital part in galvanizing people, and, you know, we're doing our best. And, you know, I just want everybody to make sure they, you know, there's other priorities in their own personal lives that take over, you know, the football club, but again, that the club is the hub of the community, and it, you know, as always said, it makes or breaks your week, depends what the result is. And, you know, let's hope for a good result on Saturday and carry on.
Danny, thank you for joining us again for a couple of questions towards the end of the TV show today. We'll start off nice and early with the first question. What work goes into developing a game plan?
I think there's two facets to it. You've got your overall philosophy, which you obviously want to try and implement during pre-season, and how you want the team to be for the whole year. But obviously that fundamentally sets you up, but game to game that will change, and personnel will change, players in form, players out of form, injuries and whatnot. So it's as much as possible we try and focus on ourselves and how we how we want to play, but as you'll see over the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks and the coming weeks, it's more about who's available to us, who's fit and who's in form. And I think that the biggest thing for us is trying to look at how we can utilise our best strengths from an attacking perspective, whilst trying to obviously nullify the opposition's capabilities. And as everyone would have seen in this league, not every team's the same, and it does make it tough, but it's the same for everybody. And that's why we do the analysis work that we do. And you'll have an example like Solihull on Tuesday. They didn't do anything that we thought they were going to do. All the planning we did around what they've been doing in the past 5 or 6 games, they completely changed and did something different, and it caught us by surprise. And by the time we actually worked it out, it was too late. And sometimes you just can't legislate for that, and that's what makes the job a tough job.
Next question: what are your top 3 areas you want the team to improve on the most, whether that be on or off the pitch?
The biggest priority for us is consistency, because we've shown this season on numerous occasions that we're capable of competing with everybody. But then you'll go and perform as resiliently as we did away at Stockport, and then you'll turn up and perform the way we did in the first sort of 35-40 minutes against Solihull, and that's a psychological element they've got to work on. And I'm going to be honest, I think COVID's hurt us a bit with that, because we can't have them in the building as much as what we would like, and those meetings that we normally would do around units and defenders, and it lends itself back to the game plan really. All those meetings that you normally would have are now done over Zoom, or we can't do them at all, and we're turning up to training and we're leaving straight from training, so we can't prepare how we probably would best like to prepare. And I think that lends itself to being inconsistent. That would be probably my biggest priority. I believe that we need to be more adaptive within games and not necessarily led from the side of the pitch. We need players to stand up and take responsibility and accountability on the pitch, because they're out there. They can notice. You know that if you're getting overloaded in a certain area, you shouldn't have to wait for a break in the game for us to tell you what to do. They should know that this is happening. We should be able to get this organised. And I think when we talk about the maturity of the squad, that's where it hurts you a bit, because you haven't got that experience in there that's going to just organise that. And these players, if they want to make the step up, if they want to be consistent performers even at this level, that's where they've got to develop the most. Thirdly, I think that off the field we'd probably say we'd want a bit more continuity with regards to where we're training, how we're training, what's available to us. But again, we're in an unfortunate situation that we are dealing with COVID, and it does make it very inconsistent. So that would probably be off the field, and that's as a club, not necessarily as a group of players. I think we want players to be consistent, or we need consistency in what we're doing off the field as well, and that's very difficult at the minute, but that would be a major area for me.
Thanks for that. Next question. I wondered if it would be possible and beneficial for the Thursday show to include a few minutes update from the physio club on all players currently injured. We will speak to George later on the show, as people would have seen. The next question is about Ross McCormack and Mike Fondop and Craig. Obviously, people are asking whether Fondop still plays for the club, but we've addressed that in our pre-match for Solihull. But maybe you could provide us just an update, maybe Craig and Ross as well.
Nothing's changed since Tuesday when we spoke about it. They're recovering. They're making really good progress actually, and I'll put Kins in that bracket as well. So we're optimistic that all three pretty much, give or take a game or two, will probably be available at the same time.
Good. Next question. Against Bromley on BT, you were heard saying we have no right to be competing in the playoffs. I appreciate that we don't have the money compared to other clubs in this division, but what do you say to supporters who dream of a return to the Football League?
I think you've got to respect the process and the plan. We presented last season at Christmas that there's a 5-year plan with regards to this club being in a good position to return to the Football League, and we're only a year later. And look, this squad, you know full well, if we put a run of games together, of course we could get in the playoffs, and of course we could get promoted. But my comment was more about the realism of you play a Solio on Tuesday, and they've got a 2.5, 3 grand a week centre forward playing for them, and that's more than we spend on our entire front line. And they've got 2 of those on the bench as well. And you go to Stockport, and all these big clubs that have got players on more money than any of our players are on, not even in the squads. And when you've got that availability to you, I'm not saying it makes it easier because it's a different kind of management, but you are, sometimes you get what you pay for in the sense of experience and quality. And I think we've done great business with what the money we've got, but I think it's clear to see we're probably, I'd say a good 2, 3, maybe even 4 players short of being a really competitive team. And that's no disrespect to our players because they work very hard every day. It's just the facts, that's just reality. There's nothing that they don't know themselves. And from the fans' perspective, who doesn't dream? I think about it all the time. I think about, I look at the results and think if we can win 4 or 5 in a row, why not get promoted this season? Realistically, is it going to happen? Probably not, because of exactly what we've just spoken about. And it's not about diminishing people's dreams, it's about realism, being realistic about what our expectations are. And the current financial situation this club finds itself in, the priority is we make sure we are a National League football club, and we do that, and we do it the best that we possibly can. And I think with what we've achieved so far, yes, we've had some poor games and some bad results. I mean, I think you'd be a little bit silly to think that we weren't going to have that during the season. But we're 6 points outside the playoffs. We're closer to the playoffs than we are the relegation zone. At the exact halfway mark of the season, we're in the quarterfinals of the trophy for only the 2nd or 3rd time in the club's history. If we were talking after the performance against Notts County at home now, everyone would be up and about. Because we're talking after a defeat, it makes it feel like we're in a negative place. But look, we were poor on Tuesday, but this is a good bunch of lads, and they're making good progress, and I think that we're in a better position we were this time last year. So just keep backing the plan, backing the progress, support the club, support the players, and we need them more than ever when things aren't going our way. We don't need everyone happy clapping us when we've won 3 in a row. That's not when you need your support. You need your support when it's tough. And at the minute, with all the injuries and suspensions that we've got, it's tough at the minute. We need people to back the boys.
Completely agree. Final question, a bit more light-hearted. Apart from football, what other sports are you interested in? I've heard a rumour you've been spotted watching a bit of cricket.
I'll be honest, I watch anything that's competitive. I love boxing, I love cricket, I like watching Formula 1, I love tennis, I watch rugby. If the Olympics are on, I'll watch everything that I can physically watch, because I have an interest in being elite and that kind of professionalism around it. And it makes it frustrating at times because we'd love to have the resources to put everything in place here, and that's why it's a work in progress. We're in a more professional place than we are this time last season off the field, and we're trying to keep improving it. And yeah, to be honest with you, I love all sport, and yeah, I think that if I could watch sport 24/7, I probably would be able to. I'd probably be single as well and living on my own, maybe with a cat or something like that. But no, look, I do love a lot of sport. I've got a keen interest in cricket. My stepson plays at a good level, and I think that it's something that it's another little sport and a competitive thing to get your teeth into that's not quite football.
Appreciate your time, Ben. Thank you.
No, always helps.
So we come to the end of episode 5. I hope you're enjoying them. Forgive us if there's a few small errors here and there. This is about fan engagement. It's a free show. We just want you to enjoy it. Take the bits you like and enjoy. Share, watch again, get someone else to watch, and be part of the club. Feel part of the club. If there's anything you'd like on the show, if we can do it, we will. Bear in mind we've got some restrictions. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's show. See you at week 6 if I don't see you on the live streaming.